Hello, how are we all doing today? My name's Neil. If you haven't seen my videos or um, did any reading on my page here, I have liver disease. I have decompensated cirrhosis, which there's no cure for. The reason behind this page is to bring awareness to that disease and to hopefully help out those people that are dealing with it, because there's not a lot of information out there. There's technical information, but there's just not a lot of people who's living with this day to day. So I thought I would make these videos. So this is my channel. So welcome if you haven't been here before. Okay, so again, I have cirrhosis. There are many ways that cirrhosis can be caused, which I will get to here in a little bit. But there's different stages as well of liver disease. Uh, so, little backstory on me. I've been living with liver disease for going on close to 2 years. It'll be 2 years in May. Uh, I've been through all levels of this. I've been to the point where they gave me 90 days to live. I had a MELD score of about 37, and if you know what the MELD score, it's basically the end of life scale. It's four different numbers they take from your blood work and they put them together and they get a number anywhere from 6 to 40. 40 being the highest, 6 being the lowest. And anything in the high 30s is, there's not much hope there. But however, though, I was able to get a little better. I still have liver disease. I'm still fighting with it. I still have symptoms that happen. Not as bad as they were back then. But I still do have the disease. Again, like I said, there's no cure for it. Okay, so liver disease. Generally, liver disease starts out as a fatty liver. What is fatty liver? Fatty liver is basically just like it sounds. It's your liver when it has inflamed. Um, it is completely reversible if you change your diet, add some exercise too, just change your lifestyle. Most Americans, they actually say over 50% of Americans actually have fatty liver disease in one facet or the other. And again, there's generally no symptoms whatsoever with fatty liver. Basically, this is just over time. It just continues to go and get worse, which I will get to those here in a moment. But fatty liver can be completely reversed. And a lot of people don't think about a liver. Before I wound up with liver disease, I never really gave it two thoughts. I thought what most people did, that people that get cirrhosis or liver disease are people who have been drinking their entire life. They're up in their high 50s, 60s. You get that thought of that drunk or that drug addict. Um, you know, at, at, at least that was my thoughts of it. I never really gave it much of a thought at all until I wound up with it. And now that I have it, there's no reversing it because it's gotten to the point where it's at. Um, Now, also, as the liver continues to get better or continues to get worse, um, it it can extremely well at the liver is extremely well at healing itself. Um, Kind of like if you think about it, like axolotls. You cut their fin off and they'll grow another one, or what have you. The liver can regenerate. That's why you can have a liver transplant with just a portion of a healthy liver, and that can grow into a full liver, which is quite amazing if you think about it. However, though, as time, what happens is your liver gets scarred and then it heals. And this continues happening. Well, eventually, the liver can become what's called cirrhotic. Cirrhotic is scar tissue. Um, and scar tissue will heal as it goes, but once it's become cirrhotic, it doesn't heal anymore. There's compensated and decompensated. Compensated means the liver's been damaged, but it's still functioning. Like I said, a lot of times you can even have full-on cirrhosis and have zero symptoms at all. You may not experience anything until all of a sudden something happens and you're like, where did this come from? And you're sick. And now you're dealing with it. That's kind of like what happened to me. And with the cirrhosis, once it becomes decompensated, it stops functioning properly. Then you start getting some of the symptoms. What are these symptoms, you ask? Well, one of them is ascites, which is fluid buildup. You can get it on your legs. A lot of times people with liver disease get it in their stomach. At one point I had 5.5 liters pulled off my stomach. Basically you get this huge hard bulged stomach, and the fluid just keeps building up and building up and building up, and then you have to have it tapped and drained, because it's the only way to get it out of there. But those fluids have different things in there too. There's things we need. Some of these cells are things that protect our body and help us to live with day-to-day diseases and things like that. And anytime you have that fluid taken off, you are pulling away some of these needed things. And I'm sorry this video is not overly technical. My whole point of this one is to kind of make it simple. So that fluid has to be pulled off, because also it's a double-edged sword, because there are good things in there, but that excess fluid can cause organ failure. It can cause, pressure on the heart. It can cause lots of other things like that. Lots of other bad things. One of the other side effects that you may wind up getting once you get liver disease is forgetfulness. It's called hepatic encephalopathy. Basically, it's HE is the acronym for it. What it is, it's the ammonia that's not being filtered from your liver, because that's one of your main jobs of your liver, is to filter out the bad stuff and ship it out of your body. Well, that's not happening anymore because your liver's gone bad. So now those chemicals are building up in the brain. They do make a couple medicines for this. Lactulose. Lactulose is a laxative that's extremely sweet and sugary and gives you the full body shivers when you drink it. It's pretty nasty. What that does is it collects the ammonia molecules in your body and traps them, and then pushes it out of your body when you go to the bathroom. The other one is Xifaxan. Xifaxan is basically like an antibiotic, and it protects your brain. It kind of puts a shield up so that these chemicals don't take their full effect, because you can get personality change. It can make you do things you wouldn't normally do. Could make you angry, overly happy, overly sad. You could block out and forget certain things. Names is a simple one. I forget names all the time. But you could be in the middle of a conversation and totally forget what you were talking about. You could be explaining something and not remember. You could wind up slurring your words. You could wind up becoming extremely confused, not knowing where you're at. And in extreme circumstances, you can wind up going into a coma. And that's why we want to take these medicines, because these medicines protect us from those things happening. So those are a bad side of liver disease, which, we don't want to get to. We don't want to go into a coma. We don't want to do any of those things, because those are very bad. Once you've gone into like a coma induced from this, a lot of times people don't come back from that. So take your medicine. That is the key here. One of the other things is that you may wind up getting is you could be cold all the time. That's because one of the things that your liver does, it doesn't produce. It takes care of the protein in your body. So when you eat protein, it changes it into what's called albumin. That albumin is what your body needs to survive. Without it processing and turning into albumin fuel, essentially, for lots of things. Strength, your ability to fight diseases, uh, you know, energy in general. You know, it stops producing these things. So now you need to take in a lot of protein to keep up with it. So most people who wind up with cirrhosis of the liver go on a high protein diet. I eat most protein. Mostly what I eat is protein. I have a lot of pork or chicken or what have you. Um, so I try to stay up on that. Protein shakes are a good one, but they can be expensive. Sometimes doctors could have coupons for those protein shakes, so check with your doctor. They may have some coupons for Ensure, what have you, and that could save you some money. It's just an idea. I ran into that when I first started taking them. One of the nutritionists had coupons, and that's another thing too. A lot of medical situations, you can get a nutritionist, and they can help you get your eating habits back on schedule to where it's best for your body. So just an extra bit of, hopefully that helps. So, and then some of the other things that we wind up dealing with when you have cirrhosis is you're just weak. You could have an upset stomach, not feel like eating. The weakness, that's all coming back to that protein, because your body's not burning that fuel properly, so it's not creating it properly. So basically, your energy may be down. Another thing too that people run into a lot when they have cirrhosis is sleeplessness. That one never made sense to me, because with everything I go through with the thoughts of possible death and the thoughts of not being able to work because you are sick and not be able to do the things you used to be able to, you'd think that, and with my body being run down, you think by the end of the night everything just wants to shut down and go to bed, but that's not necessarily the case for what so it's one of those things. I think it's your mind constantly racing. I don't have an answer of why this is a side effect, but it is, and I guess it's fairly common. Another one is itchiness. That's the bilirubins. Bilirubin is bile, and you have these little ducts, kind of like sweat glands, that they release through. That's why you wind up seeing some people with liver disease having a yellow hue to their skin or yellow eyes. It's those bilirubins coming to the surface, and that can cause itching. You can get these little red blotches that look like little spider webs. That can happen as well. But however, though, there are lots of different side effects once you get towards the end of cirrhosis. But again, in the process of getting up there, how do you know if you should go see a doctor? Well, definitely if you see any of those side effects, go see a doctor. For me, I wasn't able to breathe. What happened was I thought I had some kind of like lung infection or something. Come to find out, my entire right lung was filled with fluid. They pulled 3.5 liters of fluid off my right lung. Eventually, I had to have a chest tube put in to keep draining the lung because the lung kept filling up. That's not as common in liver disease with the lung, but in my case, it can happen, and in my case, it did. Another one too, another side effect is bleeding varices. What are bleeding varices? Okay, so varices are veins in your esophagus that shouldn't be there. Think of it this way. You have a main vein that goes to your liver called the portal vein. That portal vein allows the blood to go through, and it has to be open. Well, as the liver starts to go bad, it starts squeezing this, and you get what's called portal hypertension. It's like high blood pressure in your liver. And this blood's not able to get through, so the heart's still pumping, so it's got to go somewhere, right? So it starts creating its own roads, essentially. It's kind of like if you were in a traffic jam and everybody was stopped and cars started taking trips through cornfields to get where they're going. It makes new roads, essentially. And those roads, those new veins, those varices can burst and bleed. A lot of times people with liver disease, they bleed out internally. Because those varices, they didn't know they had them, or something nicked them, or something happened and they wound up bleeding. I have thrown up blood before, and it's not pleasant. I've had 9 varices binded. Basically, what they do is they go in there and they go down with a scope, and they put these like tiny little rubber bands around these veins, and it closes them off. It's not overly painful if you haven't had it done. It does make like a sore throat when they band them, and that lasts for a couple days. It's not the worst thing, but it's not fun nonetheless. So, but anywho, again, in my situation, again, at my worst, which I explained here, they gave me 90 days to live. I wasn't eligible for a liver transplant because I didn't have a support system at the time. So I continued on, and I continued doing these things. I started eating right. I started exercising. I started finding things to stay positive about, which is difficult. Especially, you got the situational life going on, which is your own personal stuff, and then you've got this disease, and you have to take them and juggle them. And I will tell you, it's not easy. It's one of the harder things you'll do. I mean, I know it was for me. A lot of people make comments, say you're so positive. I try to be positive to the outside, and just being real. I mean, there are times that I go through it. I fight with depression at times. I fight with not feeling good. I fight with all these different things. Where here you just see me a couple times a week and I look so positive and all that stuff. But trust me, there are bad days. But I will tell you, when you're having a bad day, just keep fighting for tomorrow, because you don't know what tomorrow may bring. Hopefully something good, right? So keep on going, keep trucking. And again, I'm sorry this vehicle. See? The brain. Sorry this video wasn't overly technical. I just kind of wanted to simplify it a little bit, some of the things you'll experience going through it. But for now, I'll just take every day at a time and keep trying to stay as positive as I can. Also, thank you for everybody who has followed me and subscribed to my channel. I am extremely grateful. I didn't think I'd get over 1,000, and I'm at like 1,300, and I am just blown away by that and your positive feedback and everything. Thank you so much, and I wish everyone the best. Also, thank you for everybody who's donated to my GoFundMe page. It is difficult living on disability, so it's hard to make ends meet at times. I do have 3 hernias as well, which they can't do surgery on because, well, they won't do surgery on you when you got a bad liver. But, sometimes it's hard to be able to get out there and get working and stuff, especially when you don't have the energy or you're not feeling well. So, so everybody who's donated to that, thank you so much. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. There'll be a link to it in the description of the page here, also in my bio if anybody wants to help. Again, not needed. I just appreciate everybody tuning in and listening. So everyone have a great day. Stay blessed, stay awesome, and take care.